This is the first FPV drone I've ever built myself. It's not a bind and fly, and it's not a kit someone else tuned. A full build that started with ChatGPT picking parts and ended with me figuring things out the hard way. Today I'm reviewing it properly. What worked, what didn't work, and what I would genuinely change about this frame if I were to buy it again. If you're thinking about your first FPV build, especially with the SpeedyBee Mario 5XH frame, this will save you some pain. First up, to satisfy those who are actually interested in the specs of my first FPV build, let's run through those quickly. The frame is the SpeedyBee Mario 5XH04 with upgrade kit D. Motors are the T-Motor Velox 2306 V3 1950 kV. The flight stack is from GepRC, it's a Taker H743 65 amp. The VDX is DJI 04 Pro, and I'm running ELRS 2.4. The props are Gemfan Hurricanes, and I also had some TPU props printed by my friend Sergey, mainly to mount the ELRS receiver properly. There are a few parts I didn't end up using, such as the GPS, because this is a freestyle build. The original capacitor was too big for the frame, so Sergey gave me a smaller one. And the buzzer, which I'll explain in a bit. If you want more detailed specs, or you want to try this build yourself, I left the parts list in the description box down below. And if you pick up anything from GepRC, you get a small discount and it helps support the channel. ChatGPT actually did a solid job picking the parts and making sure everything was compatible. But once I started building, that's where a few issues showed up. So let's talk about the build experience and what caught me out with this frame. The first issue is that upgrade kit D isn't even mentioned in the SpeedyBee manual online, and as a first time builder that was confusing straight away. Overall, this frame is overwhelming for beginners. What I really wanted was a clear, this is what the finished build should look like, and then instructions based on that layout. The capacitor bay was one of the most frustrating parts. It's fiddly and carbon pieces don't stay easily, and the bay itself is small. Hence, the capacitor that came with my stack simply didn't fit. XT60 routing matters more than I expected. If you don't tuck the wire underneath properly, it blocks the purple air unit cooling side plates. Mounting the XT60 into the TPU also pushes the battery further back, which affects the center of gravity. The battery strap spacing is awkward too. Personally, I think routing the XT60 through the front through this hole would be much better. The frame itself is thick and strong, which is great, but depending on the motors you choose, the included screws may not be long enough. And if you're a beginner and don't have spare M2 or M3 screw kits, you'll get stuck fast. My biggest pet peeve though with this drone is the side plates that house the LEDs for this drone, because now it blocks the USB access to the flight controller, which I think is a massive oversight. Also, if you mount the gold air intakes, it gets worse. You actually have to remove this just to open up the side plates to be able to plug in a USB-C cable to set up through Betaflight. And tightening those ducts requires a thin hex driver because of the arms where they sit. That's also why I skipped the buzzer, because then I won't be able to get access to it really easily because of these ducts. To be fair, not everything was on the drone. The stack that I chose was quite large, but that was the only thing available at the time that was in stock when buying parts for this drone.
Oh my god. What? That's the problem.
What? So I had to make modifications because the power leads were touching the standoffs, so I had to make adjustments and insulate them so it would prevent shorting the drone. The motor wire routing is another thing. If you don't tuck them in properly, the side plates can pinch them when tightening everything down. Some of this is inexperience, no question, but I also felt like I ran out of screws way too quickly and had to keep borrowing spares. I didn't use GPS because this is a freestyle quad and it's not something I plan to fly far either. I'll save that for another build. I actually just received this today, and this would have been a lifesaver if I had it at the time building my first FPV drone. But brands like GepRC now make a hardware pack that comes with a magnitude of different spares, screws, tools, you name it. So if you are building your first FPV drone, then picking up a kit like this will be a lifesaver. Now, some of this is on me and some of it's down to the frame design and some of it's just part of building FPV drones. But once it was finally together, the real question was simple: how does it actually fly? Unfortunately, during my maiden flight, we didn't exactly have the best weather, with overcast and a lot of wind. However, from the short flight time that I did have, I noticed that the drone was very responsive and very snappy. A little bit too much for my liking, especially after flying a lot of GEP-RC binder flight quads. Now, this FPV drone was designed for 6S, and the two batteries that I used was the Boss LiPo 1550 and the Tattoo 1550, and they were both giving me under 9 minutes of freestyle, which is actually pretty decent. Obviously, I could get a longer flight time if I was cruising about, but let's face it, this is a freestyle quad, we're not going to be cruising. So this is something realistic as I was testing out the drone. I also tried out a 4S LiPo 1550, however the drone isn't designed for this. I felt it was a little bit underpowered and it wasn't as efficient, giving me a flight time of under 7 minutes. Now, I don't have a set of scales, but I can definitely tell you it's over 250 grams. Now, in order to tame the quad, what I've done is I actually set up my Radiomaster GX12 to have 2 flight modes. And under flight mode 1, I would have the full performance of the drone. Whereas on flight mode 2, I was able to use one of the dials of the radio to be able to throttle back the performance of the drone so I could then have more control. And this actually works really well. Now, in order to solve the center of gravity issue, I thought I'll try out an external camera using the DJI Action 5 Pro. However, the day that I flew at the Bando with some of my friends, the screw I had to mount the Action 5 Pro wasn't long enough because the TPU parts on this drone are really thick, so I wasn't able to test this. Luckily, when I got home, I did find a spare screw, so this is something I'd have to try at a later date. So this is a new FPV Bando that we found today. Unfortunately, most of us have crashed, broken our drones, or even put them in water, just like I have, which is why I haven't been able to fly. Let me get the drone. Come with me. Come. Graveyard of drones. And here we go. If I take this one out here, we can see I landed upside down. And yeah, I thought I would not fly to risk an 04 Pro. Let it dry out for a few days. So it sucks because I was midway through flying. The good news is that the DJI 04 Pro is really good video quality, so I don't have a problem with that. The only issue is that because it's a freestyle quad, you're more likely to crash it, and that could be a very expensive part to replace. I did crash a few times at the Bando with my friends on the weekend, and I then end up in the water, which wasn't very good, and then wrote off my day pretty much as I couldn't fly anymore and I didn't want to risk burning out the 04 Pro. Before I get into what I would change long term, there's one more thing that I'd like to talk about, and that's transmission and control make a big difference to confidence, especially on a custom build. So let's talk about the Link, the video system, and how all of that's been working for me. This is my first ELRS drone, and I am running Diversity, which I think is overkill for freestyle in most situations. Unless you're flying deep concrete bandos, you don't need this level of link quality, in my opinion. I mean, let me know what you think of Diversity in freestyle in the comment section down below. One thing I'm still learning is that the antenna indicator on the OSD, I'm only seeing 1 out of 2 antennas active, and it alternates between the two as you're flying. If you know how to show both, let me know in the comments. Now, DJI 04 Pro is still the benchmark in terms of VTX quality and penetration. I'm also curious about the new Flywheel 04 Lite, the 155-degree view wide version. If it's close in quality but lighter and cheaper, this might make more sense for a freestyle basher. Especially after landing in water, if I did break my 04, that would have been costly. The 04A units are so hard to find right now, even in the EU and UK. I mean, the other day, Drone FPV Racer had some in stock, and in less than 24 hours they sold out. The one thing I do love is the Bluetooth on the fly stack. Being able to make changes on the fly, pun unintended, is genuinely useful. Now, after flying it for a bit, I got a much clearer idea of what I like and what I don't like. Nothing here is a deal breaker, but if this is going to be my main freestyle quad, there's a few things I'd like to change to make it better for how I fly. So let me walk you through what I'll tweak going forward. So if this is going to be my main Bandome basher, here's what I would change. And first up, I would probably swap out the DJI 04 Pro air unit for the Flywoo 04 Lite, the wide kit version. It should be good enough for freestyle and cheaper to replace. I would also change the antenna mount at the back. I'll take out the original stock antennas and put some stubbies instead, and that should give some more protection because these are prone to breaking in my opinion. I'd also want to reprint the ELRS mount to a different color so it matches the rest of the drone, but that's a cosmetic thing. I actually don't have a 3D printer, but that is definitely something that I would consider in the future. One of the main ones to solve the center of gravity, and if I'm gonna be running a 04 Lite or 04 Pro, depending which one I go down, I would route the XT60 lead to the front by reversing the stack, which would mean resoldering all the motor wires as well, but that would be a much better fit for the drone. By doing that would also mean it will free up space at the back because the XT60 cables are currently underneath the 04 Pro, and it should allow me to use the purple side cooling plates. Hopefully they're compatible with the 04 Lite, but that's something we'll have to find out in the future. I'd also probably ditch diversity and just get a single antenna because I think this is overkill like I said before, and I'll probably put this into another drone. The other thing I would do is also remove these plastic motor wire protectors. A lot of my friends in the FPV community have said that when these break, they tend to be sharp and end up slicing the motor wires, which isn't ideal. So I'd probably get some fabric tubing or fabric tape to solve that problem. For my first build, I'm happy with how it turned out, even with the frustrations along the way. A lot of the issues came down to learning, some came down to design choices, and a few other things are generally changed next time. If you've built on this frame or you've got suggestions how you'd improve this setup, drop them in the comments down below. If you want more behind the scenes content, creator tips and more, subscribe to my free weekly newsletter, Weekly Focus. And if this is your first time here and you want to see how I got on with my first FPV build, then check out this video here. Or if you're new to FPV and you want to get started, then check out which simulator is right for you here. It will save you money and stress. I'll see you in the next one.